ask, as far as your training techniques, I don't think I've ever seen you put the mitts on as far as doing mitt work. Is there a reason you don't do mitt work? Is that something that, every trainer has a different methodologies. How do you feel about that?
There's plenty of mitt work that goes on in this gym, but I usually orchestrate it. I've taught quite a few guys how to do it.
Yeah.
But we do mitt work. It's not something I like to put on a show for the reporters, this, that, but, basically, we do a lot of different things in the gym. We do a lot of bag work, I have to tell you. It's something that really you need to do. A lot of people still hit the heavy bags, but I don't like to overemphasize the mitts too much because you're really just hitting somebody's hands. Okay? Now, you're going to be hitting a body when you get into the ring. So for me, a heavy bag, and it's the way I was raised in boxing too, all the great champions from, history have all hit heavy bags. But hitting the mitts is tantamount to shadow boxing in a sense, because you're throwing rapid punches, you have to be accurate. That's why they call them focus mitts. There's a purpose for them, but they're not the overriding priority for me. There's very few. I never did them with Diego, the Rellis brothers, Michael Nunn. Very rarely. There's a lot of instruction to lead the fighter, and other varied exercises in the gym. And what I mean by that, I mean drilling. Yeah. There's different things on speed bag.
Yeah.
Blend bags, the weave bag, shadow boxing in the ring with the ropes up where it forces you to move your head and throw punches. There's so many things that you can do along the same lines, but in all actuality, maybe even serve a better purpose for what I teach. But I'm not opposed to mitts at all. We have several guys that are hitting mitts right here, right now.
Yeah,
you can hear them. Yeah. Now some fighters don't like them because they hurt their hands and wrists.
Wow.
Yeah. Because there is a concussive action going on there as a fighter's throwing his punch. The trainer could be slapping a heavy set of gloves there, and that that impact right there. Some guys are sensitive to it. But for my money, I like to hit the 200-pound heavy bag and have guys drilling it because it really gives you a feeling of hitting some weight. Yeah. And it really develops your strength and your punching power. If you just rely on the mitts all the time and you don't hit anything that has a weight to it and a force to it where it emulates a body in a sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you start hitting a guy, you go, man, I just don't feel the power. The mitts are good for speed. They work on maybe slipping and countering, and other things. But if you really want to develop punching power, which a guy like Molina depends on, you need a lot of heavy bag.
Wow. And Joe, I remember once you told me that as far as your hands, you have to sort of break them in. A lot of guys aren't used to when they hit somebody, how much it hurts. How do you build that strength in your actual fists and hands?
Well, it's like I was saying, a lot of guys that don't hit a lot of heavy bag, and they might hit a lot of mitts, the only weight you're hitting is my hands. How much do those weigh?
Yeah.
So you take that, and you then ask yourself, well, when I throw a left hook on a heavy bag, what's the weight ratio to that you're hitting? It's anywhere from 100 to 200 pound bag.
Wow.
Excuse me. And that conditions your hands. A lot of guys that just hit the mitts that come out here that maybe just start training at the gym, and they'll start hitting the heavy bags, and they're like kind of like crying the blues about how their hands hurt, their knuckles hurt, which really make them start using more knuckles. A lot of guys make the mistake of using too much wrap and then boxing gloves, sparring gloves on the heavy bag. You don't want to do that. A heavy bag, that's why they're called bag gloves. You don't use sparring gloves on the bag. You use bag gloves.
Wow, okay.
You use less padding on the heavy bag because you want to condition your knuckles. You want to be able to find your knuckles on the heavy bag. If you have a lot of padding and then another 14-ounce glove on, I mean, you got that much junk between you and your knuckles. I mean, how do you condition them?
Wow.
I mean, you see those karate movies where the guys are hitting the boards and
Yeah.
they condition their hands. Now that's the extreme.
Yeah.
But again, with a good solid wrap on, a little bit of padding just to protect the scraping of the wrap itself, and some small bag gloves. And then when you start really learning how to, dig into that bag with your knuckles, now it's going to hurt. Your hands are going to get sore. Your knuckles are going to get sore. When you get over that hump, and everyone that I've worked with, they all say, boy, I really neglected this part of my game.
Yeah.
So, like I say, the mitts are great. Got no problem with them, but they're not my main focus or concern.
And Joe, a few more questions. As far as John, a lot of people make a lot of his power. Do you even make an attempt to work on the power? Or is that just something natural that every fighter comes with?
No, of course we're. That's what I just told you about the heavy bag.
Yeah.
We're constantly hitting the heavy bag. Now, that's not just it. I mean, we'll start our day off the rope. We'll work the weave bag. We'll work slipping. That constant head movement. Slipping, punching. We'll work that. Remember the old weave bag Mike Tyson used to work?
Yeah.
We have a similar thing, but heavier. It's bigger and heavier. And we use it a little bit differently. We could do 5 on the rope, 5 on that. We'd go to the speed bag. We could work 10 to 15 rounds in the speed bag, 3, 4 different types of drills. It's not just going up and down with your hands. We use blocking drills. We use slipping drills on the speed bag, punching drills. So then from there, we'll go to the double end bag. We've got a single double end, and we got the double end. 2 different types of mentality when you're talking about what technique you're using on there. Then from there, we'll go to a certain heavy bag that allows you to throw more uppercuts. And from there, we'll go to the 200-pound heavy bag, which then you'll grind in that. And from there, we could go into the ring and use our ropes that stretch from both corners, very taut, and use a lot of weaving, slipping, moving, center drills, turning left and right.
Wow.
Look, we cover the gamut, And then every so often, we'll use the mitts.
Yeah.
But you can see where what I'm doing out there is tantamount to doing the mitts.